Well, good afternoon, folks, and welcome back. Cumberland Outdoorsman out here on my front porch, just enjoying a little bit of cooler outdoor air because this past week it's been so hot and so brutal. I just hadn't been able to get outdoors and shoot a video. Working in this heat all day long, when I come home, I just didn't feel like getting out here and doing it. We had some days that the heat index got up to around 115 degrees, and it was just nearly unbearable. But now temperatures have cooled off, so I decided to come out here and start a new video series. Now, in the past, I've used some vintage archery equipment where I was shooting my Bear Kodiak hunter here, and also my dart and recurve. I think those of you that follow my channel have seen those videos, and I plan on taking this old bow out and doing some hunting with it. And I wanted to start a new series besides just my 22 rimfire series in featuring some vintage archery equipment. So I'll be calling this the Vintage Archery Series, because I know a lot of you folks out there have got some older bows and older equipment that you'd like to see featured and used successfully on a video. I've got another bow here. This is also a Bear Kodiak. This was given to me, and the bow came with nothing on it. There were no sights, no arrow rest, no stabilizer, nothing on this bow. I think this one here dates back to around 1989 or so, 1990. It's definitely outdated by today's standards. But you know, that doesn't mean you can't take an old bow like this and get it shooting good and take it out in the woods and be able to take a deer with it. And that's the challenge that I'm going to accept here. I'm going to take this old bow. We're going to go and get some equipment for this bow. I'll get an arrow rest and some sights and a stabilizer put on it. I'll put a D-loop on the string here, paper tune it, get it shooting, and we'll take it out in the woods and see if we can't harvest a whitetail with this old Bear Kodiak compound bow. Now, I've already done a little bit of work on this bow. I've changed the draw length to suit my draw length, and it's right on the money, right where it needs to be. I got it set at 28 inches, and feels really good when I pull it back. I've not shot this bow, I just got it, and we'll get it equipped. So we'll go to my local Walmart here. They've got some archery equipment, and see if we can't find what we need for this bow. So follow along with me. Let's get the bow set up and get it shooting good, and good Lord willing, we'll take it out in the woods and hopefully harvest a deer with it. Well, folks, here I am at my local Walmart, and I'm going to pick up some accessories and parts that I need for this bow that I'm going to set up, and looks like I've got what I need right here. And I'm just going to go as inexpensive as I possibly can here. We're going to pick up Whisper Biscuit and one of these True Glow sights, and we'll go ahead and get these installed on the bow. And I got a few other things that I'm going to put on there, a stabilizer and a D-loop and a few other little necessities for bow hunting. I've already got a quiver for it and everything. So anyway, let me go ahead and pick up this stuff, and then we'll get back to getting the bow set up. Well, good afternoon, folks. I'm out here at my backyard archery range, and I'll be doing some shooting with this old bow now that I've got it equipped. But before I start shooting, let me give you a rundown of everything I've installed on this old vintage Bear Kodiak. And honestly, it's shooting pretty good. It just seems a little bit slow to me because I've been used to shooting a faster bow. But anyway, what I've done is I installed a True Glow bow sight here, and this one is equipped with a light that has multiple settings to light up your pins in low light conditions. It also has a level here so that you can hold the bow level on each shot. And this one has actually come with a dampener here. This is much like the dampeners that are equipped on Matthews bows. Pretty interesting. And good looking sight for the money, really. You can't go wrong with True Glow. In fact, I've got True Glow sights that I've had on my turkey gun, my shotgun, for many years, and they've always been very reliable, and they've helped me make some very successful shots on some turkeys that were in questionable positions, but thankfully I could see those sights really well, and I could get them on the turkey and make a good shot just about every time. So TruGlo is a good company, and I've just always had good luck with their products. I also installed this whisker biscuit, and a whisker biscuit is a great arrow rest, especially for hunting applications, because it nestles the arrow right there inside the middle of that disc right there, and you don't have to worry about the arrow falling off the shelf. They're fairly quiet, very durable, easy to tune really, and install quite easily. You know, you just have one screw here, and then you can adjust your elevation and your back and forth motion here so that you can get it centered with the riser of the bow. So easy adjustment and easy installation for that whisker biscuit. I've also installed a ProLine stabilizer here that I had laying around. This is probably period correct for this old bow. I just had it laying around, so I thought I'd add it to it to add a little bit of stability and to quieten some of the vibrations when the bow is being fired. I also installed some serving here on the string and put some rubber string silencers here on the bowstring, and that really helped it a lot. I mean, tremendously. It actually makes the shot quite a bit smoother as well. And here I've installed a D-loop. What this does is when you knock an arrow and then you pull it back, the D-loop actually allows you to pull that string back that's centered with the knock of the arrow, instead of having your release down here below the arrow, which could actually pinch the arrow or whatever. But the D-loop, it pretty much nestles that knock, it cradles it right there inside the loop. And the way I put these D-loops on, I'll have to go into detail a little bit more in a future video, but I tie these on just like with that type of a loop knot there, and then I secure them on each side to keep that D-loop from slipping out when you draw the bow, because I have seen these D-loop knots fail, and I've seen people pull back and then their release ends up hitting them in the mouth, and I've seen teeth actually broken and chipped due to failed D-loops. So you really got to get them secured on there once you find out where that arrow needs to be knocked. Here I've installed a peep sight, and instead of using the rubber tubing on there, which I think makes unnecessary noise, and you really don't need it. If you get that bowstring tuned right, that peep sight's going to come back and align with your eye every time if you do it right. And I'll show you that when I get ready to draw the bow and shoot it. Now I've got some arrows made up here. These are Easton XX75s. These are older arrows. In fact, these camo type arrows like these are no longer available. The only ones I know of are the camo hunters, but these were premium arrows. They actually made a XX78, which was even a higher grade aluminum right there, that was just super straight, very accurate shafts. It's just a shame that Easton doesn't make good quality aluminum shafts like this anymore. Everything's gone to carbon arrows. I've got a carbon arrow made up for this bow, and it does shoot faster, but I wanted to use aluminum arrows. Now I've got some 90 grain target tips here that we'll be shooting at the target, but since we're going to use the bow to hunt with this year and hopefully to get a deer, this is the broadhead that I'll be using. And what it is, it's a 90 grain Wasp 3-blade. Now, I've had these for a long time. In fact, I just opened the package to put this broadhead on, and I've already shot it once, and it flies just like my field tips. So I would say I've got the bow tuned pretty well. But these have always been very good broadheads. I mean, that's just a wicked looking head, and I guarantee you that'll put a deer down in a hurry. But we'll be shooting this at a target down here at a foam block, and I'll show you how well this actually flies. I've also got a chronograph set up here. We'll be checking the speed of the bow. I doubt it'll get to 200 feet a second. I doubt it'll get to 190. In fact, I think the bow is relatively slow by today's standards, but I'm going to accept the challenge either way and hunt with the bow. I've got it shooting pretty accurately, but the speed, you know, which doesn't really make that much difference at close range, 15, 20 yards. I've got these targets set up down here at 25 yards, and we'll see how well the bow can group those arrows at 25 yards. So let's go ahead and start shooting here, get started. There you can see downrange, I've got some targets set up, and the chronograph is right here, and I'll be giving you some readings. We'll go ahead and turn it on here. Give you some readings in feet per second. I've got this little X target here that I'll set up, and I'll be shooting that broadhead at that X. But first we'll see how these arrows fly with the target tips, and then we'll shoot at this with the broadhead. So let's get started here. I'll tell you what, let me shoot at that foam block first, just to get a few velocity readings. Okay, 192. Well, that's about where I was guessing. That's not that bad. I mean, most bows nowadays will shoot around 260, 250, 260, even up to 300, depending on the weight of the arrow and the poundage, of course. But on average, I would say most of the modern bows now will shoot around 280 to 290. A few of them will reach 300. $192. All right, let's try it again here. $189. $191. And now I'm going to try out this carbon arrow. This is a gold tip. I've had this laying around for a while, but it's the same length and the same spine as those aluminum arrows, yet it's lighter. Let's see what kind of speed we get here. Okay, 207. Okay guys, one little tip that I can leave with you, no matter what you're shooting, whether it's old equipment or new, if you're using a caliper style release, you know, one with a trigger like this, consistency is the key to accuracy. You need to consistently put this thing on the same way every time. And the way I judge it, I use my fingers. I want that caliper to be about right there, because it's going to pull on it some from the poundage of the bow. So I hold it just about like that, where the front of the release is right at the base of these fingers. Okay? Get it strapped on here. You need to consistently put your caliper release on the same way every time. Okay folks, I'm going to take you through this shot sequence, and you can watch my hand and my finger as I make this shot. And a lot of successful archery shooting is knowing how to draw your bow back. You know, some people, they really hurt themselves sometimes doing that. Or they'll come way up here and they'll come down. No need for all that. You know, when you're bow hunting, you want to make as little movement as you possibly can. So you get your bow leveled, you know, even with your target. Keep your arm up like this, and just with a push-pull motion like this, it just makes it so much easier on you. You know, if you just use that leverage that you have in your shoulders and your arms. There you can see my finger cradled around the trigger, and I'm on the target, on the target, on the target. And then let down. You know, sometimes it's so hard to do that. You want to take that shot so bad, but keep it on that target, and it feels like it's going to be a good shot. Try to hold it as long as you can. When that starts to break down, then just ease it down. So you relax a little bit, you know, keep your eye on that target, stay focused, and then repeat it. Do it the same way every time. You didn't see me punch that trigger. It was just a nice, smooth squeeze, you know. I think this bow's still shooting a little bit off to the left. And I'm holding the bow with my thumb and forefinger. I'm not gripping the bow at all, you know. Get lined up here. And let down. I felt myself starting to shake and break down. I was just practicing there. And that's what you got to do, you know. That's why you're out here practicing. You feel yourself starting to move a little bit. It's okay. You know, there's no hurry. There's no rush. So you relax. Stay focused on the target. When you feel the energy start to go back into your shoulders and your arms, and you feel comfortable again, it's time to take the shot. Yep. That bow is still shooting to the left. In fact, that arrow hit almost the same point of impact. All three of those arrows hit a circle about that big. So I need to readjust, and I'll get it lined up here. I'll show you what I got here while I'm on the target here. I'll go ahead and retrieve these arrows. You can see I'm still a little bit to the left there. You know, I can put my fingers around those three arrows just like that. Two of them are touching the same hole right there. So I need to move my sights a little bit more, and I think we'll be golden then. Okay guys, I got these sights moved on this bow, and there's another couple of shooting tips that I can share with you that's helped me a lot through my shooting career. It doesn't matter if you're shooting offhand with a rifle or a pistol, or if you're shooting with a bow. especially with a bow though, you don't want to waste too much time getting those sights on target. You know, don't dilly-dally around about it. Get those sights on that target as quick as you possibly can. That way you can execute a more accurate shot because you're going to hold steadier. There's only so much energy that each of us have that we can dedicate to each shot. So let me break that down. What I'm talking about is the time period between getting the sights on target and taking the shot. You know, if you can reduce that time period, not saying I'm trying to hurry you or get you in a rush. It's just that the energy is running out the longer you try to get those sights on that target. So if you can get the sights on target quicker, then you're going to have more time to execute a more accurate shot. That's the best way I can put it. And also, what I do is I use my shooting eye, which is my right eye, my dominant eye, to get those sights on there. And just before I get ready to shoot, as I'm finishing the sequence of the shot, I open both eyes. That way I can see my arrow and watch the shot, and I can also watch my bow to see if I'm doing anything wrong. So let's see if we're on target here. Well, I'll tell you what, I think I'm dead on because that arrow hit, I think, dead center of that pink square, which is about that big, and it just disappeared as soon as that arrow hit the target. Let me see if I can get these arrows right in there close to it. Or I'll tell you what, I'm going to shoot at that deer and see how many will go into the kill zone from here. This is 25 yards. Okay, one of those arrows I shot intentionally a little bit to the left. I'm not sure where it hit, but I think I hit right in the crease of that shoulder. And the other one, I aimed a little bit more to the right to try to get it right in the rib cage. Not sure, I just saw a little red spot, and I think I'm on target. So let's go check it out. Yep, that's what I did. Okay, this was my first shot. I put it right in the crease of that shoulder. And then my second shot, I intentionally held a little bit more to the right. Either one of those shots, that deer's dead. I mean, either one. And then here, you can see my shot hit perfect. It actually buried that piece of tape. All right, guys, just to follow up this video and to bring you the conclusion, I'll be showing you what I'm going to be hunting with out of this bow, and it's the same arrow that I normally would hunt with, and here it is. I'll be using a lighted nock, a 90 grain broadhead, fixed broadhead, and an aluminum shaft with 4-inch fletching. And I just have always stuck with these aluminum shafts. You know, some people tell me that oh, you need to upgrade and go to carbon shafts. Well, I have carbon shafts and I use them from time to time, but I always find myself going back to these aluminum shafts. And just recently I found a listing on eBay, and I went ahead and bought them. Here they are, folks. This is the unpackaging of some more aluminum arrows. And the reason I got these is because Easton don't make these anymore. They just simply don't make this particular type of arrow shaft anymore. Yes, they still make aluminum arrows. They make a XX75 and a Camo Hunter, but they don't make this specific pattern anymore. and I wanted to get it while I could. These came all the way from Canada. They look to be in good shape. It's a dozen of them here. And there they are. 1 dozen Easton 2213 Mossy Oak Breakup Super Lights. This is my absolute favorite arrow shaft material right here. I've got a fresh dozen. I've still got some that I've never used before fletched up, but I wanted to make sure and grab these because you never know when you're going to need them. So, with that being said, here's one of those shafts that's never been used. This is a Easton, as you can see, super light breakup, Mossy Oak breakup. Well folks, down here at 25 yards, I've got a piece of cardboard sitting up against my backstop, and it's got a piece of pink tape. It's about that big, square. And I want to see if my arrow and bow combination is dialed in for that distance. I think I'm hitting right in and around that, but let's see how close we can get to it with this shot. All right, there it is. Let me show you what I got here. I believe I'm in the pink there. Yeah, it hit just right, maybe a ½ inch from the center. Right there's the center, and then that's where I hit. So, you know, that's not too bad for 25 yards with an old bow like that. Well folks, that's not the best group I've ever shot at 25 yards, but you know, it's not bad, especially considering I was using this old outdated vintage compound bow, and I just wanted to prove the point that you can use these successfully in the deer woods. Any one of those shots right there would have put this deer down in no time. I mean, that's a double lung hit right at the top of the heart on every one of those shots. So these old bows can be quite lethal if you set them up correctly. And you know, back in the day, when this is all bow hunters had, there were a lot of whitetails and other big game animals that were taken with these old bows. It doesn't have to be a bear, Kodiak. You know, there were a lot of other companies out there that produced these old bows, like PSE, Hoyt, Darton, McPherson Archery. You know, just so many different brands out there that had the same basic setup as these, and there's a lot of these laying around in attics and basements, and you can find them at pawn shops, yard sales, for little of nothing. And if you're one of those guys that wants to get into bow hunting and you really don't want to shell out a lot of money right now, and you've got one of these old bows, or you can get a hold of one for very little money, go ahead and try it, you know, dive into it. Get it set up pretty much with what I've got set up here, you know, just some rudimentary accessories, even though they're modern, like the bow sight, really nice bow sight. They didn't have anything like this back in the day when these things were made. And the arrow rest is nice, you know, a Whisker Biscuit is a good arrow rest for just about any bow, especially for bow hunting situations. and you know, a few other accessories like the peep sight and the D-loop and the stabilizer. All of this adds up to make this a lethal package within reasonable range for deer hunting. So if you want to get out in the woods this fall and you want to do it relatively inexpensively, and you've got one of these old bows laying around, get it set up, get out there and practice with it. You still got some time left. So with that being said, let me remind you, if you like to go hunting, fishing, camping, shooting, hiking, no matter what your outdoor pursuit happens to be, I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. And until next time, remember, hit that like button, smash the bell icon, and subscribe. That way you'll know when more videos like this will be coming your way. So until next time, y'all take good care of yourselves and get out there and enjoy the great outdoors. God bless.